Cheesy. She brought her apron with her, so we're wearing our aprons.
Yeah.
Hi guys. 1 week till Christmas, although this will be airing tomorrow, so it'll be even less than a week. But today we're making French onion soup, a great dish for the winter.
Good.
All right, let's get to it. It's time for another episode of Cooking with Kaitlin. That's me. Enjoy. Alright, so we have 6 onions we're going to slice up. So you're going to kind of just get the peel off of them. Like that. And then we're just doing it in half and then just slices. Because for this soup, you're going to want your slices. You can do them as thin or thick as you like. But how you're cutting them is how they're going to be in your soup. So just bear that in mind. A little bit off. So we're going to be cutting these 6 onions up, and then we will move on to the next. Chef D's going to do a few. I'm going to do a few. But see, this is about how thick you want them to be in your slices. And then we just do them in half, so it's a little easier to get on the spoon when you're eating. All right. We'll check back in a few. All right, so we've got a big pot because we've got the 6 onions, 5 cups of beef broth, some wine, and we might wind up adding a little more beef broth, a little more wine with all this stuff. So you need like a big pot. Big pot.
What's the same time as far as size?
That's a good question, Guest Chef D. It doesn't. That was a good question, Guest Chef D. Y'all have missed her, haven't you? Alright, so we're gonna melt a stick of butter first. Gonna let that go, and you guys can't even see it, it went sliding the other way. We're gonna let this melt before we add anything in, so we'll check back after it's melted here in a minute or so. Alright guys, so the butter is all melted, so Guest Chef D, are you gonna add the onions or do I need to?
I can do it.
She's got it, guys. You're gonna gingerly get them in there. Ah! I lost a few to the floor. That's okay, I think we actually had like half an onion more than we needed anyhow. You have the amount of onions you need. About half an onion on the floor. Yeah, but that's not bad. All right. So we're gonna add some salt on it, and we'll kind of season throughout, and some pepper. All right, and with this, you're stirring pretty constantly because you don't want them to caramelize. That's that fast cooking. You want them to get to that translucent state. So it's stirring and doing this for about 15-20 minutes. Once they get to the translucent state, then you can let them do the kind of the more caramelizing, richer flavor. You're going to go more in the 20-minute range than the 15-minute. But yeah. But I did know that we had a little extra onion than we possibly needed, just in case. And it was good. We've got the onions we're supposed to have. And it's good if you've got someone helping you because stirring for 15 to 20 minutes can be a lot on the arm. And if they ever seem like they're cooking too fast, you just want to turn your heat down. We've got our heat on medium right now. Gonna keep stirring them. It's kind of like we did for the pumpkin soup, except we're not gonna puree these at the end. I'm gonna keep doing this and we'll check back and you can kind of see their progress throughout.
keep my appointment with her on Monday instead of switching it to Wednesday. Way if I need I can still go. But they did. I asked Sherry, I said, Kate made the strawberry bread. I said, we'd love you to have it. I said, but if you're not taking it, I said, yeah, we are. Like, you know, her husband had come. Did you know that? Yeah. And I said, well,
on Monday, you can ask her how much if you can take a card up for me.
Okay. And
it was so funny. She wasn't there the first week I went, and I went 2 or 3 times that week, and then she was there again. My second. And she was. I said, I don't know how much. I said, but I haven't paid yet because you haven't been here. And she left, and I said, Carl was amazing. I said, but I do with the fire. And she goes. She goes, okay, it should be this much. So just need to find and pay it. And then one more time after that. So I believe that's all I owe. If you don't mind asking her. I'll just give you my card.
Just give me the card, yeah. She will.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah.
But
she knows.
And I was telling him, you know, because it's always the scar tissue back here is what the issue is. And I keep thinking that the more you work on it, it will break it up some. And he just looked, he goes, it does not break up. I said, well, why do I keep thinking? He goes, I don't know why. And he's like, it's never changing. It is always going to be like that. And I said, so I can't do anything about the scar tissue. I said, so why do I come? I said, what is it that's happening? He said, well, we're just, you know, stuff around it. We're helping ease up and everything. He said, but the scar tissue is going to be how it is. And so we were talking, and I said, well, what exercises can I do to somehow get some relief back there? I said, you know, I told him the ones I've been doing, and I said, what about laying on my back and, you know, pelvic? I said, are there any pelvic exercises I can do? He said, flip over. So I'm on my back, and he says, all right, do a bridge. And he said, have I not taught you how to do bridges? I said, I know how to do bridges. And I raised up, and I was like, oh my God. And I went back down. He goes, okay. He said, you're pulling from here. He said, I need you to pull through here. And I was like, and when I first went up, I said, my hamstrings are always so tight. He said, okay. He said, I laid down. He goes, I want the pull from here. Yeah. Yeah. You'll start a little bit. So, and he said, pull through, you know, this part of your leg and the front. Yeah. And I just looked at it, and I was like, you're saying that? And he goes, yeah. So I did. And he said, don't even try to raise your butt up. He said, just barely move it off the table. And I did. I was sweating so hard. I said, well, this is going to be working out for sure because Caitlin's been demanding. I said,
did you tell him there was strawberry cake? Or bread?
I think she probably did.
Okay, good.
But he knew before I left.
Okay, good.
But he said, now do 10 of those. And he came out, I said, I'm just sweating. That was like actual exercise for me. He said, that's because your core is not strong enough yet. He said, I said, well, how often do I need to do these a day? He goes, only do 10 of them, only once a day. He said, when you come back on Monday, we'll see if you're any stronger.
He gave me a new one with mine. I've got a couple of things I do, and he kind of tells me which ones I need to focus on, and if there's anything I not do. Like this past time, I do things, but I don't want to do anything. Lose at the point. So, all right. But he had me doing a modified kind of push-up is what I finally realized he was trying to tell me to do. Because he's like, all right, lay on your stomach. Okay. Just move between these two hands. And I started moving with my back, and he goes, no. He said, it's your neck and your shoulders. He goes, you need to pull with your shoulders and make your shoulders do the work. He's like, that'll help kind of stretch muscles. He's like, and I'm doing this, and I was like, oh, so it's like a push-up. And he's like, Yes, like a very modified push-up.
But you're not using your hands or elbows.
No, they're just resting on it, but you're leaving it out with the shoulders. Because my neck. Yeah. And doing that helped because I would do that a couple times a day, but I wasn't supposed to do it a ton, just a few times throughout the day.
It's amazing to me how much he really knows. I mean, you know, if I have any problem, he knows what exercise to do. And it does give me relief. And I'm just like, I just find him amazing.
Well, he knows how to just move stuff because, like, I will go in and my neck will be just killing me. And it's not like it's magically fixed at the end, but it's so much better.
Has he ever used the cups on you?
No, I've not had the cups.
He uses those on the occasion. He used them on me today. And every time he does it, because it's not very often he does it, he says, have I used the cups on you? I said, yes, Carl. I said, but remember, you can't use them real hard. He goes, okay. He goes, I just have to do it softly. I said, yeah. Because the very first time he put it on there, they were sucking so hard. I was like, get it off now. You know, get it off now.
Poor mama.
So he said, I can do it softer. And he said, can I try? I said, yeah. And then that was okay. But I can actually feel the tissue kind of pulling.
Yeah.
And that's what helps. So he does those occasionally. He said, well, now you might look bruised. I said, ain't nobody going to be looking at my back. It's really not an issue.
I always do that bike just for the forearms. I'm always on that, building up that. And so I've actually learned to kind of mimic. I don't have the resistance, but I can mimic the motion. Yeah. If it's just starting, and that helps a lot. And I do my stretches, and he gave me one of those bands, so I've got it to do my stretches. And then other things, and other just kind of neck exercises.
I didn't look at my neck today because it had actually done better. And I told him, I said, the thing is, I said, my back was okay, and then it started seizing up again. I went to bed all day Wednesday, and I said at the end of the day, I couldn't really straighten all the way up. It was doing again yesterday. I said, so by the time I got to Kaitlin, it was so sore. I think my hip joints are sore. I said, I woke up this morning, and nothing was really hurting me. If I tried to do much with it, but so it's just,
yeah. All right, I think they're ready for us to move on to the next. Sure. Maybe just 1 or 2 more minutes, and then
Carnivore.
Liked the title.
Yeah.
I'll just let them sit.
Put thyme in this.
You're supposed to. Fresh thyme, can't be dry thyme. That's what I found. Sprigs of it. Excuse me. And we remove it before we add. Yeah. Remove it before we eat it, but it's in there with the broth while it simmers for 35 minutes.
Oh,
then you pull it out after.
I thought we put the sprigs in there.
Yeah, they just take them out. It's like you would do like a bay leaf. We've made a lot of things. Alright, I think that's good. Okay. We gotta.
So what are you putting first? How much time?
Oh. Guys, I'm not sure if it paused or not. We just added in half a cup of white wine and some salt and pepper. You do a funny dance if it didn't save. And we're letting it simmer for a couple minutes. It's been simmering for a couple minutes now, actually. So now we're going to add in the beef stock. 5 cups of beef stock. I added a cup to it. Then it'll hold 5 cups. All right. What we want to do is get this to a boil, and then we're going to take it down in the heat and let it simmer for half an hour. But we have to bring it back up to the boil first. It shouldn't take but a minute or so. But now we can also add in our thyme. Alright, so we're just doing a few sprigs of fresh thyme. We'll pull those out before we serve, but we're going to kind of mix them in just a bit so that they're nicely seasoning, like an aromatic. All right, I'm going to let this boil back up. Put the top on it. And once it gets to a boiling, I'm going to turn the heat down so that it's at a simmer. All right, so we remembered the last time we did this, we wound up adding all the rest of this broth. So that's actually like 8 cups of broth. And then we're going to add a couple splashes more of wine. Because you need that to kind of help cut.
Because the last time we did it, we didn't do it until the end.
So thank goodness guest chef D is here to remind. So that's probably closer to 3/4 of a cup, which is about the right ratio. So we're going to give it a good stir. See, it's getting to that boil, so it's ready to simmer. So we're putting the top on it. We're going to put the timer and we're going to let it simmer, turn it down a little and let it simmer for 35 minutes. So we'll check back in 35 minutes. All right, the soup's almost done. So D is kind of nice. That's what you do. All right, y'all, it is time to assemble our soup. We removed the thyme. Look at that, it smells amazing.
Amazing.
We're gonna assemble. We showed you the cheese. We also got some French bread earlier in the week. I tore it up, and then Dee took it out of the fridge this morning. So it's been able to get nice and kind of stale, so it'll really soak up the soup. Do that so we don't lose too much as we eat it. And this is perfectly amazing on its own. We did get some roast beef sandwiches, roast beef sandwich to split, kind of dip into ours. And remember that you're adding stuff, so you want to leave enough for your bread. You know, hang on. I'll move this out the way. And there's 2 ways to do the cheese once you get to it. See where? Oh yeah. So just kind of sprinkling it in there. See, nice, it's gonna soak up real well. And you can either broil, if you've got oven safe dishes that you're putting it in. Maybe. We're doing that, you're layering your cheese in there. We've got Gruyere we're using.
Or if you have it.
You've got it, yeah, as long as your dish is safe to go in it, you're good. What we're gonna do is use my little kitchen torch, because it's just fun. Okay, let me get a few more cheese in there. I'm gonna move the bread out the way. Alright, and then I'm going to lock it. And then, guys, I'm just, hang on. Alright guys, see, it's just nicely melting and caramelizing the cheese. Might need a new butane. May need some more butane, hang on. Alright guys. So just melting that cheese. And you can just do this in the oven. We've done it before, but since we've got the blowtorch, it's just fun. All right, I think mine's pretty done. All right, guys. There it is. Bon appetit.